Charles Almighty Wraith, and
Racelet 58.
And this is Game Warriors Top 5. And this top 5 is the top 5, or our top 5 asinine reasons for banning video games, or claims that we should ban video games, rather. So, a little backstory. I have worked for GameStop, I worked for GameStop for 6 years. 7 years. Somewhere around there. And I worked at Walmart for 8 years, and I've played video games for 30 plus years. So, I've heard all of these arguments multiple times. So, Connor here has got to experience reading some of the claims online, and well, thoughts before we get into our top 5. So, and he's experienced because he's a gamer as well, but the amount of stupidity, especially in that one article.
And one of the counterpoints just...
Hold on, we can't get into it. We can bring that back up in a minute when we get our top 5. So, without further ado, here's our top 5. So at number 5, video games should be banned because they are rotting kids' brains. Now you can say what you wanted to say.
Okay, so this just... The article that we were reading that had a bunch of these points in there. It's just... Talk about irony. Okay. This alone had, like, so many spelling mistakes. Just, like, some of these just had...
So, anyway,
it hurt me as a person.
So, again, I've dealt with these people in person, not just online, but in person. So, I've had people, well, they do nothing but sit in there and become couch potatoes and blah, 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 and rotting their brains. Well, honestly,
two of us could be used as examples, as well as a large amount of the gaming community.
Okay, so let's look at the stats. So a 2015 study from the University of California provided evidence that cognitive benefits of playing video games when they tested a group of gamers versus non-gamers with memory tasks. And, well, gamers won.
Yeah, they performed much better.
So that's going to bring us to number 4. We should ban all video games because too many kids are getting obese and overweight. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm a little...
No, like... Part of the reason I wear this jacket all the time is because
of the opposite?
Yes.
So,
and I know so many people that play video games who are just like twigs, and that's saying something coming from me.
I mean, that has more to do with the amount of food that you're shoving into your body.
Yeah, and also, according to this little argument, they're eating too much.
Yeah. And, again, but...
Or they're not eating healthy enough.
But, so, they're not being active. Well, games like Wii Fit, Dance Dance Revolution...
VR, in general, just...
Yeah.
Blade and Sorcery, Beat Saber, Gorn...
Yeah,
like gladiator type stuff, and like especially Beat Saber. My God, the arm movements.
So these games right here are active games. The Kinect, most stuff on the Wii, Um,
And
and like you
there's
said,
even
VR.
and then even now there's stuff with like the PlayStation whenever they
The
came out.
The Zumba.
Yeah.
So, you know, your point's not valid. Now, granted, if you eat a lot and you just sit around and do nothing, it doesn't matter if you're watching TV, playing video games,
Or just
reading a book.
if you sit around, do nothing, you are not going to be fit in any way, shape, or form.
So, blaming the game for it and not the person. That seems to be.
A common theme.
So, moving on to number 3. Video games do nothing to prepare children and teens for the rigors of work and social performance demanded by employers. Poor achievement of literacy, inability to problem solve, and inability to think critically, and are huge deterrents for sustainable employment. So basically, gamers are unemployed
Or unemployed due to the
or unemployable.
because of the video games not helping with their abilities. Even though there are several games that help, such as like with the critical thinking, any choice based game ever. Then there's Legend of Zelda, other puzzle games.
Tomb Raider, God of War had puzzle solving.
Yeah.
Um. So. And
then there's games that have you that
you
literally have to employ strategy if you want to win. Even
Halo Wars.
Even Siege. Like you have to coordinate with your teammates if you want to be able to win.
So I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with that. I mean, I've been employed steadily since I was,
and then
for the past 20 years. The games that I left, I mean, the jobs that I left were not because I was lazy and anything like that, or it definitely wasn't because I couldn't problem solve.
And then there's like handling transactions. Even Animal Crossing, like a game like Animal Crossing, can help with something like that.
So, the American Psychological Association showed in a 2013 study that adolescents who played strategy video games had improved problem solving abilities and better grades in school. Again, prime example. Now, granted, his grades aren't as good as they should be, but you know, that's neither here nor there. He's a teenager, and we've already had this discussion.
And also, there's a bunch of stuff going on in my life outside of this, so.
Yeah, but you still passed.
Yes, I passed by a very high score.
Exactly. So, their point is invalid again. So.
And there are so many gamers that have been employed. Like,
I mean,
we could list off a bunch of people who have made so much money from gaming.
I mean, you got esports, you got YouTubers, you got Twitch streamers.
Like Jacksepticeye, his net worth is like what, 16 million, something like that, and all he does just about on his channel is gaming.
Then you got also the people that are software designers and stuff like that. I mean,
people who don't even game, people that make the games, they make serious bank.
So I mean, your point is invalid again. All right, so we're moving on to the number 2 spot. Number 2, and this number 2 and number 1 are right there as far as the arguments that I heard as a employee for GameStop and Walmart, where I sold video games.
This one just doesn't make sense at all to me.
Video games should be banned because kids need to spend more time socializing with other kids, playing sports, and interacting with each other. Okay.
Okay. So
go ahead.
You play, let's say, you play Xbox. There are so many kids playing Xbox, I can guarantee.
Okay, so
and then there's the part about playing sports.
Okay.
Well, even if they were, that doesn't necessarily mean they would be socializing.
And then I've got uh, when I again worked for GameStop, we had I don't know how many people that came in their baseball or football uniform. I mean,
yeah. And again, even if they do play sports, they might not socialize, but they also might socialize also on
Xbox or PlayStation.
And then there's the fact that like, okay, you sometimes you just can't play sports. Like, look, I legally can't due to medical conditions.
So let's look at this number. So this, as of this recording, is accurate.
5 days ago of this recording, that's how many people were playing on each platform, and I can guarantee that some of these numbers are not
adults,
and also they're not even mutual numbers. The vast majority, because there's so many people arguing PlayStation or Xbox, but they don't just go, why not both?
Like us.
Actually.
So that's another story. But anyway, 90 million people playing on Xbox Live, 41.5 million on PlayStation Plus,
and
growing on top of that.
And the majority of them, kids. Because
especially right
now, because a working adult would not usually have the time, or would not have much time to play online.
Yeah.
And that's not just like total accounts on with those subscriptions. Those are active ones.
Yep. So, number one, and man,
the
oh
most
man,
overused one.
The biggest one since the 90s. Thank you, Mortal Kombat. So,
great games.
Awesome
arguments.
So, as a matter of fact,
you already saw this whenever you came in here. This is going to be one of them.
I mean, if you thought about it, I mean, and I've actually got into a heated discussion because I was trying to educate and everything else. But here we go. When a child plays video games, they find it fun, so they copy what the characters do and grow up to be a violent person. But if we ban video games, younger children will not experience violence in a fun way and will grow up to be kind people.
By that logic, just get rid of everything. Almost everything is centered around conflict. And how's conflict resolved by humans? Violence.
Not always, but it is one that
it is the most common way to do it. Is my point.
Well, I mean, in the situation of the games, yes, it makes kind. Well,
and then even in some games that are usually violent, violence can be in some games.
Self-defense.
Yeah, violence can also just be completely avoided if necessary in certain games.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, so with that being said, we're not stating that you should let your 3-year-old play Grand Theft Auto 5. By no means. I've actually
to play it until recently, and I've avoided a lot of conflict if I can.
I actually brought up multiple times to parents who were buying Grand Theft Auto or Doom or games like that.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, because they had little kids. I brought it up, pulled up the ESRB rating on my phone, and showed them why it was there. The ESRB, Electronic Software Rating Board, has been around since 1994, stating, hey, this game contains this. It should only be played by this person.
And I think And considering the time that came out, isn't that around when Mortal Kombat was?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. So again, thank you, Mortal Kombat. Love you guys. Honestly, I do. I mean, if you watched any of our videos on their channel, we love Mortal Kombat. But the point we're trying to make is video games are highly regulated. It belongs. It's up to the parents to monitor, and that's video games, that's movies, that's anything.
If you do not find it suitable for your child, then why get it for them?
Exactly. So it is targeted towards adults. Yes, kids are gonna play it because it's fun.
And then, like in the case of GTA, like if it's even among adults, it's a controversial topic. Like even some adults just don't want to play it.
So we're gonna look at this. So if video games made people violent, then please
explain to me every single war before the mid 1970s.
Yeah, okay, because Pong was first video game, and yes, I know it wasn't violent, blah blah blah. So, but still, we're blaming video games for all these things. So, video games have been around since the 70s. So, in 1970, there were 16,000 murders, almost 38,000 rapes, 970,000 aggravated assaults. Those are all violent crimes.
You said that's wow.
300 what?
You said 334, 970,000.
Whatever. They can read. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, guys. And then September 1st, 1939 to September 2nd, 1945, World War II, what is the most deadliest military conflict in history. Almost a rough estimate, 85 million people died
in the span of 6 years and 3 days.
So,
accounting for leap.
Okay, and then you've got, like he said, every other war beforehand. Yes, violence is getting worse, but so is the population getting bigger.
People are just violent creatures by nature. It for some reason is just in us. And it's not a good thing by any means.
But the thing is, we have to.
And humans also need to look for something to blame. So, what's the newest big thing? Video games.
So, our point is, yes, violent video games. If your kid shows signs of aggression, then yes, you do not need to let them play Mortal Kombat.
But, and this goes for people that listen to like heavier music as well. People say that those listening to certain types of music or playing certain types of games, they make you more violent. They can make a completely non-violent person violent.
So, again, go ahead.
If you meet a violent person like that, I can assure you that the case is most likely they were violent far before that. Far before they listened to whatever music they listened to or played whatever games they played.
I'm pretty sure Genghis Khan wasn't playing Grand Theft Auto Asia. Pretty sure Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't playing Call of Duty. Actually, his was probably Burger Time, wasn't it? Anyway, not trying to make light of it. I'm just stating, guys, we are violent, and I'm not making excuses for our violence. I'm just stating that we cannot pass the buck. We have to, as individuals, rise above that nature.
And not just blame it on something that is completely harmless.
Because if we take that same mentality, we're going to be blaming Hostess for making people fat and having diabetes. Chevrolet for drunk drivers. You see my point? The
or
problem lies
guns
within
for
us.
violence and stuff like that.
I was gonna stay away from the gun topic because people already think guns kill people. It's a tool.
Yeah.
So, and
again, it's an object though.
It is. It's an object.
I'm looking at a pair of headphones right now. You could probably kill someone with those.
That's a different conversation for all.
Again.
Camera. But anyway.
Still.
So our point is, guys. I mean, one
Humans
of those
are violent. They'll find a way to kill someone, even if they have a gun or have something.
A pencil. No.
They'll improvise.
So, in all seriousness, if your child is playing video games and they are showing signs of aggression, I suggest stop them from playing those games and consult somebody about some help for them and stuff like that. Now,
but don't blame the video games on that.
Don't blame video games, movies, music. They are forms of entertainment, and they are movies, video games, and music. All that they have warnings labels on them to tell you, hey, this contains this type of material. That's there for you to monitor what they're watching and what you're watching. Because if you constantly put that stuff in there and you don't have a stable mind to overcome it, yes, you're going to succumb to your basicer instincts. So again, these are just a few of the asinine reasons that people will say that we should ban video games. Me personally, video games help me relieve stress. I work in retail. I deal with people like this that stress me out. Come home, play video games. It doesn't even have to be Mortal Kombat or Dead or Alive or anything like that. I mean, playing Tetris, anything that's sitting there and is getting my mind off of it. Some people come home and watch movies. Some people come home and read a book. And then gamers, we come home, we play video games. So we read through several other ones that, they blame video games for autism. There was brain damage. There was, there were so many. Sexual perversion. The list goes on and on, guys. Again, it's an individual.
It's a problem with the individual's mentality, not with what they've been around. What they've been around is not necessarily the source, at least.
I mean, it's nature versus nurture type thing.
Nature will.
I mean, there's a lot of things to contribute into why people do what they do. And
do we have any clue?
No.
And I don't think we ever would.
And some of the stuff is, they are exposed to the violence and stuff like that through some form of media, as whether it's video games or movies or whatever. And some of them grow up in violent environments and stuff like that. But you can't sit there and blame
something as harmless as a virtual. You can't blame something that's on a screen. Like, it's not like it would. It's not like it's going to tell your kid to just go out and garrote somebody.
Teach your kids the
Teach your
right thing.
kids proper discipline. Teach them right from wrong.
Fantasy versus reality. If your kids struggle in those areas, again, seek help. And I know this is a little different than our normal top fives. This is more of an unscripted slash top five. But this is
the direction we took on this specific one.
But this kind of has been a big issue with me the last. I mean, it's been my big for a long time, but the last couple weeks and stuff like that, I've been flooded with different people posting anti-video game propaganda, and that's the reason why the world is the way it is, and it's not.
The world is the way it is because of the people in it.
So we need to educate people.
If it weren't for the violence in the first place, there would be no violence in video games whatsoever.
So
art imitating, yeah.
I mean, and yes, there are times when there are
when it's the inverse.
When it's reversed, but
if there had not been violence in real life, there would not be violence in video games. So can't exactly blame it on something new. Things been as old as time.
And so, again, guys, we kind of got off on a little rant at the end of it and became more about.
It started off top 5, ended unscripted.
But it's all in the name of education, guys.
Do not allow yourself to be misinformed about these. If you wish to learn about something, go to multiple sources. Do not look at a single source.
Nope, never. Always research.
Do plenty of research.
And if you are a parent, again, if you are a parent who has a young gamer who has issues with aggression and stuff like that,
allows themselves to be easily influenced by
or has problem distinguishing between fantasy and reality, pay close attention to the ESRB rating on the front of the game, and on top of it, the back of it. But the best part of it, and what I always told my customers, was install that app, because that app will tell you why it got that rating in very big detail.
And then it gives a brief reason for it on the box.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
the app will give you the specific reasons.
Oh yeah. So
or it'll give details on why that, it give the definition of that reason.
Yeah, it tells you the types of language that was off in there and stuff like that. I mean, I was even surprised by some of the games, but do your research, know what your kids are playing,
know what your kids are watching or what they're reading,
and limit their screen time.
If you feel it necessary.
So, and yes, I mean, it boils down to us as parents. And, I didn't let Connor play. I let Connor play some violent video games because he knew the situations. But there were other video games that I was hesitant on because of the type of content in them. And that's because I knew my son. I spent time with my son. I educated my son. And, again, I've been playing video games for 30 plus years. Watched super ultra. I grew up in the 80s. I watched very super ultra violent videos, movies. Rambo, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, huh? RoboCop, The Running Man,
basically
Predator, anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, anyway, and not once have I been arrested. Not once have I committed a violent crime. Not once have I killed anybody. The only fights I've been in were self-defense. Self-defense or defending someone else. There was a couple times where that happened, where I.
If anything.
So I am not. I actually, I taught myself how to fight. I.
Several weapons.
Yeah. So, but
Do we use any of them? Have we ever had intent to use any of them? No.
I mean, outside of practicing with some of them, but I mean, as far as
Right,
actually
and
using them,
using the actual weapon, the real weapon in a
combat
situation.
Situation, yes. But the point of it is, again, this is a little different, but um, can't blame video games or any other form of media.
You shouldn't blame an inanimate object
either for the actions of the person.
The person,
there are
only the person are to blame.
There are plenty of
the environment
there are plenty of
up in is another factor. But
there are plenty of great sources out there.
Many articles disproving all these points,
and also that are there to help if you are having these issues. One of the things we read was it increases suicide risk. Sorry, but I suffer from depression. It's because I was sexually abused and other stuff. Video games is what helped me cope with that and not be depressed and not be violent. It helps with stress relief. So I encourage
video
you.
Games make you angry.
Oh yeah,
yeah. At times, yes, they can make you angry for a period of time. Can they make you just straight up violent? I mean, unless you're violent when you're angry, then no.
So,
and if you're violent when you're angry, then that's a problem in and of itself.
So anyway, guys, this is definitely a longer version of the top 5.
Longer than we were initially planning on it being.
So, I hope you found this video informative, somewhat entertaining by our reactions, and everything. And until next time, this is Charles Almighty Wraith and
Raceslayer 58.
Stay awesome. Hey guys, this is Charles Almighty Wraith and
Raceslayer 58.
We hope y'all enjoyed our video and everything. Be sure to check us out on all of our other social media networks, such as YouTube,
Facebook,
Twitch,
Twitter,
Instagram,
and Patreon.
And also be sure to like and share the videos. And all right, until next time, this is Almighty Wraith and
Raceslayer 58
saying stay awesome.